It feels sometimes like I'm constantly being tested, and you don't know who's watching. So I'll give you a particular thing I've been blogging about for the last, I don't know how many weeks, almost 4 weeks now. Amy and I decided that we were going to uproot here in Dallas, even though we're native Texans. We're actually both Houstonians and born in Houston and bred in Texas our whole life, so we know what it's about to grow up in a rough environment. That's what Texas is. It makes you stronger because it's not beautiful and it's not pretty and it's not easy, but that makes you tough. Okay, that's what Texans are about. In my case, growing up as a boy, we love to fight, and that's part of the thing that we love. Friday Night Lights, you know, putting the pads and the helmet on and busting somebody harder than they can bust you. So a little bit retarded, but it kind of develops our reputation. So over my life, growing up in an environment where my mother was very devout Christian, so those kind of principles were, what do you want to call it, kind of pounded into me. Biblical principles. My father, also Christian, but also a Marine Recon, which is Special Forces in the U.S. Marine Corps. So I got those kinds of principles embedded into me constantly from the time that I was, boots on the deck, Actually ended up doing almost 17 plus years of my growing up under my dad, like a Marine boot camp. And I remember the code of conduct that he was constantly talking to me about, reflecting to me like Marines do about all the different stories that they regale you with, that they have overcome, and hardships that they have come through despite impossible scenarios. And so that was what I was raised on, is that level of heritage. And we've lost a lot of that in our world today. So we don't tell stories. We don't have stories to tell about where our name came from, where our people came from, and what we have gone through to get to here, and the difficulties that are part and parcel of who we are. And I have had a unique story in my life that came from the most horrible types of setbacks you could possibly imagine. And as I was going through those, and I was going through those with my children, lost the marriage with their mother, but they were able to watch me in real time, see my performance, to see the level of difficulty and anguish and pain that doing the right thing was causing me. And they were watching me, what's referred to as hold the line, not back up, not cave in, and not run away from the difficulty that my code of conduct was demanding of me to act with a level of principles, a term that a lot of people give lip service to, but they do not understand what the actual actions demand of someone. And it cost me a lot, about 15 years, more than 15 years of my life. So we get to today, actually a couple days ago, yesterday, and they're still watching. They're adults now, and they are doing extraordinary levels of things with their life, and I am absolutely proud to be their father, to see them overcoming their obstacles and bouncing over them with no seamless effort, okay? I know they're going through difficulties, but it seems that they do things so much on an automatic basis because people, especially children, they don't do what you say, they do what you do. And when you think no one is watching you, the true test of your character is what you do in the dark. And another idea that my dad embedded into me, it's the definition of commitment and conduct and character that comes straight out of the Marine Corps Pratt Manual. So here we were yesterday morning. I had gone through, I don't know how many failed attempts to find a place for Amy and I to relocate to Oregon. And it turns out that everybody in California has already been trying to move to Oregon for the last, I don't know how long. and has made the opportunities there very, very limited. Um, and so we decided, unbeknownst to us, coming from Texas to move to Oregon, that there were all these other people, an entire state of people that were all moving north in this great migration. And of course, we got there and thought, oh, well, it'll be real simple. We just want to move to this beautiful state and have this fantastic life. And we'll just go pick out a nice home, and we have plenty, of money. We'll just say, hey, here's what we want to do. And we found out when we got there that guess what? It wasn't that our money wasn't any good. It was just all these other people were there in front of us, okay? So we found that not only were we competing for every single property, but there was 10 or more people competing with us simultaneously for each one. So it was like trying to win the lottery, and there was nothing really we could do. We tried everything. And then this horrible event kicked off here about a week ago, where these wildfires broke out coming up from Northern California, blew up there with these odd winds that are going on right now, and lit up all these major, major wildfires. In fact, in Oregon history, it is the most devastating level of disaster they have ever had in their history. In fact, we had decided to move to Medford, and in moving there, instead of going to Bend, Oregon, or to Portland, beautiful kind of a valley, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there watching on the news. I think it was Tuesday. For 2 days, I watched these wildfires rushing north from Ashland and literally burning down entire cities of Talent and Phoenix, Oregon. Over 1,000 homes burn up in Phoenix, Oregon itself. And here we are already competing for the very, very limited number of leased properties in a city of about 79,000. And now realizing that, A, the city might not even be there. If the fires kept going, it was going to run right into that valley and burn the entire valley down. All the beautiful vineyards and all of the wonderful agriculture that they have there. Looks like it was going to be gone. And so in that same time, we're still competing and losing all these different places that we were trying to find out whether they're even there or not. And we were still losing to this lottery system. And, when that happens, we already had decided to move. So we already had our one of these pods coming up to move all of our, our home up to Oregon. And then we never imagined that we would have a problem getting a place there. And so we get to this application process yesterday. I finally win one of the lotteries on, this was late, I think it was Saturday night. And we find out that we're in the number one position. We're super excited. So we send, everything that we need to send, bank statements, pay stubs, all those things that you do when you are qualifying for another place, right? And they said, okay, here, we're sending you the application and everything's good to go. And basically, it's a soft approval. And then yesterday morning, I'm sitting there at my desk completing the application. And I saw that question pop up, the question that continues to, how do you want to call it, to ghost me or to follow me in my life. And I filled out the rest of the application, and I came back to it, and I sit there and looked at it. I'm drinking my coffee, and I'm thinking, here it is again. This is the last option we have. If we can't do this, then not only do we not get to move to Medford, but we probably won't get to go to Oregon at all. And there is an added opportunity that's in Medford to work with a close brother of mine. That has, been through one of my training programs, the Rubicon system. And when you graduate from that, you get a number and are referred to as a Pathfinder. And I was talking to him this morning and reflecting back on yesterday morning. And I looked at that question. And I remember the oath, my dad gave me when I was young, coming up with this type of code of conduct, and it always makes me reflect on the movie, what's it called, Kingdom of Heaven. And young Balin is in the process of becoming a knight, but hasn't proven himself. But he takes the oath from his father, as the character is actually dying after battle. And he gives him this oath, and he says, be without fear in the face of your enemy. Be brave and upright, that God may love thee. Speak the truth always, even if it leads to your death. Safeguard the weak and do no wrong. That is your oath. And the oath that my dad was not as poetic as that. His was do right regardless. Do right regardless. So I remember sitting there yesterday looking at that question. If I check no, maybe nobody knows. Most everybody else would agree with me that it's not a big deal. It would ensure that you have the probability of getting to move to a beautiful place and jumping into a business opportunity that you can do to help a close brother of yours. Nobody would think badly of you for telling a white lie. And I remember sitting there and looking at that, and then the other option was I just don't answer it. I just don't say yes or no and see what happens. But that is also deceitful. It's not being totally transparent and totally truthful 100% of the time. It would have been violating that oath that I took with my dad. It would be denying that knighthood that I have earned because of holding my conduct, because of holding the line, and doing that thing 20-something years ago that literally destroyed my life, destroyed my children's life. But we did the right thing, even though it hurt and devastated us as a family. So I went forward, I did the right thing, and I answered it truthfully, and I gave an explanation. And a few hours later, I got a phone call to inquire. It came from the owner, the property manager. And I did what I've always done, which is tell the truth. And in my mind, I knew that when I answered that, I knew that our dream of moving to Oregon was over. And it confirmed when the property manager called and asked me to elaborate. And I remember thinking to myself, here goes. This is it. We're done. Our retirement dream, our future, the opportunity to work with a good friend, close friend, a brother, and to help him. Gone. And the beautiful thing is when I was able to tell my son later that my right action actually paid off. And the man said, I appreciate your honesty. And so I want to do business with you because you did the hard thing. Because you did what no one else would have done. You're the kind of person that I want to do business with. Rare. But besides having that shock of finding another soul that actually on this planet actually does not just discriminate against you with prejudice, prejudgment, but actually takes the time to say, tell me the rest of the story, the Paul Harvey version. Give me more information. Help me make a good decision, not prejudice with prejudgment, but help me make a good decision with the right that I have to judge. It's my property. I want to make sure I put the right people in it. But I want you to, I don't want to make something without understanding all the facts. And so the beautiful thing is being able to relate this story to my son and to see, his response is, you always set the standard. You always maintain that, example that gives me that back, that gives me that wall to back up into, to feel that there is one person out here that's going to do right it's going to tell the truth, even if doing so meant losing my life. Not my life as in I was going to die. It almost killed me 20 years ago, many times. But now it was that risk of losing this beautiful life that Amy and I had dreamed together and looked at, eventually here in a few years, maybe buying us a place near a vineyard that, the morning fog just kind of pulls back off of it, and you see all these symmetrical rows of beautiful grapevines in a beautiful valley that just looks out over the mountains. And, it's that dream that you put together, and you fall in love with that dream, and it becomes something that you want to live towards. And then when you have that at risk, when you have it at that moment sitting there going, I'm getting ready to lose my dream. I'm getting ready to lose that thing that drives me, that thing that wows me. That's the thing that we're looking for in life. It's not the stuff, style, and status. It's that achieving that mountaintop peak experience that gives us that excitement of the climb and the journey, and then to have that entire adventure instantly wiped out because you have to do the right thing. And then you do it anyway. And then you have your child that says, wow, you just continue to impress me. You continue to set the standard that I am proud and impressed with, that helps me move forward in my life. That's everything. So just wanted to share that with you. I know this is a long video, but I wanted to share it with you because I know difficulties come in all of our lives, and you're coming to one maybe right now in your life, or one is just around the corner, and you feel that fate's going to bring something to you, and you look at, if I just kind of not do perfectly correct, or kind of not tell the whole story, just, a little bit, deviate from it so that it's a little sugar-coated, and that ensures that I'll win my outcome. But in doing that, you lessen who you are. You reduce the caliber of who you are as a person. And even if you lose that, you don't lose the caliber of person that you are. And you don't know who's actually watching. You don't know who you're setting the standard for. That is going to impress upon them to reach to a higher standard. And that's what we're all here for, is reaching to become that better version of ourselves, so that other people can become their better versions. That's how we make this world a better place. So anyway, just wanted to share that with you, and talk soon. I'll keep you up on the journey. We're about 11 or 12 days from heading out of Texas and to Oregon. So there'll be lots of cool videos of us doing the road trip, and I'll keep you up to speed as we spend time getting to know this cool valley that's referred to as the Rogue Valley. Perfect name for something I'd love to get into. So we'll keep you up to date. Take care.